All right, should we move on to fine motor skills? I know that a lot of people associate fine motor skills with just the hand and don't realize that it has to do with other areas of the body as well.
Mhm. Want me to take that one? Or you want?
Bang on. Yeah.
We didn't decide ahead of time who'd go first on all of these ones, so we'll get some funny glances. No, absolutely, you've said it. So fine motor skills refer to the more precise motor actions that we are able to complete with our body. So it could be with our fingers. There are absolutely different fine motor control that we would need to use with our tongue when we're eating food. The articulation, sound, how do we move our tongue and our cheeks in synchronicity so that we can make the sounds that we want to make, to say the words that we want to say. Those are very much related, a different component of fine motor skills, but it's all of those motor actions that require that really kind of fine tuning of things. So for the kind of the most aware one, I guess, that people always think of fine motor skills, work on fine motor skills sometimes is code for help my child with their printing. Is a really, really common kind of request. And that is absolutely related with all of those different kind of academic written output. We need to write essays. We need to write our name 100 times at the top of a piece of paper. But those fine motor skills are also needed for even just, managing your papers. How do I pick up an object and turn it around so I can see what's on the back of it? How do I put objects together and take them apart?
Yep. And I think like when part of it is because of the way that you started explaining some of the other terms, including your occupational therapy, and maybe this isn't related, but I was saying, well, they're finer motor skills. And part of what we see that is often a challenge for parents is we go from having a child who can barely has postural control, doesn't really know where their hips are, and then they don't have precise reaching. So if you don't have precise reaching, then you're not available to do finer things with your fingers. And that by looking at it as finer motor, then it kind of like allows the kid to go up the developmental ladder as well, rather than jumping from, I can barely sit, so I'm holding on to the desk and then I'm trying to do this with my hand. Because it's sequential, and that kind of body awareness that you have in the bigger joints, by the time you need that to become really secure and have quite a few motor plans operating off of that before you can start to do these work with your smaller joints and your smaller muscles, so you can kind of finesse it, and so that you can do all of the things that Alicia is talking about. So I think I just like that idea of saying finer motor rather than just fine motor, because it is a huge spectrum of what we're asking them to do. And I guess I'm gonna show you, because I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, so you're grabbing a pen and or a pencil or a crayon, whatever it is, and then there's all the the tripod or the quadruped grass, and it is finer, and then the way that it typically works is that you sort of start like this, and then all of a sudden you only have 3 fingers that are doing it, but you often start out with the 4. And actually, when you're doing this, again, the finer motor part is like, now I have more precise reaching because I'm doing all of the movement of this from my shoulder. And so until you have that in place, you can't do this finer motor of actually just using the muscles within your hand to do a lot of the movement of the pen or the pencil or the scissors or the chopsticks or whatever it is that you're trying to use.
I know one thing that I come across when I talk to parents about this is like, oh, but they can do Lego and they can do this. Well, this isn't the only motion that they need for writing, right? You also need to be doing the circular motion and coordinating that. So I think it's important for viewers to realize that there are several movements that go into skills like using scissors or chopsticks or cutlery and printing and handwriting that Lego's not enough.
Well, and Lego, as you said, that's, that takes absolutely a set of fine motor skills, but that's just one set. So, there's also the skills for printing. I can grasp how I'm going to pick up this water bottle is going to be completely different than how I need to pick up my pair of keys and manipulate that set of keys. Right. So as Keith was kind of saying, I sometimes think about it in terms of scale and size. So, going with that finer, there's an element of fine motor with those Lego pieces. I need to be able to turn them around and flip them upside down and press them together. But maybe some other questions are, is that child able to, thread the string that comes with the Lego kit so that they can attach the hook on their crane set? That's going to require a finer degree of control and precision than what's just required with Lego. And Lego too, with all skills, whether it's fine or gross, repetition is powerful. So if we're into Lego and we're playing Lego a lot, yeah, you're probably going to be really, really good at that element kind of fine motor skills.
And the Lego that most of the parents are talking about when they bring that into the conversation, it provides a lot of feedback where you're clicking it in and pulling it apart, and a lot of structure, because there's one way to do it, and you kind of have to be close to it in order for it to snap into place. But that all of that feedback that is the child is seeking out, if they're really liking to do Lego that much that they want to do it all the time, that it's telling you that in some ways they're not getting the proprioceptive input that allows the body awareness, that allows them to develop those finer emotions.
For sure.